What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to The Drop. And this week we have at least one big game that's coming out that's getting a lot of coverage in the news because it may not be as good as people think that it is actually going to be. And then on top of that, we have a couple of other interesting releases that are at least worth telling you about, not necessarily saying that you should buy them because they are somewhat lackluster, if I'm being honest here. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. So, kicking things off this week, we have Mass Effect Andromeda coming to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Mass Effect Andromeda takes players to the Andromeda galaxy far beyond the Milky Way. There, players will lead our fight for a new home in hostile territory where we are the aliens. Play as the Pathfinder, a leader of a squad of military-trained explorers with deep progression and customization systems. This is the story of humanity's next chapter, and player choices throughout the game will ultimately determine our survival in the Andromeda galaxy. As you unfold the mysteries of the Andromeda galaxy and the hope for humanity lies on your shoulders, you must ask yourself, how far will you go? Okay, so with Mass Effect Andromeda, this is a fantastic place to jump into the Mass Effect franchise at because of the nature of Andromeda, where it's not necessarily continuing the Mass Effect story from 1 through 3 directly, though it does have a couple of implications and, some good Easter eggs and some story that builds off of 1 through 3, but it does follow the story of the Pathfinder rather than Shepard, so you definitely have a little bit more leeway whenever you're just jumping into the Mass Effect franchise, and you're not going to be completely and totally lost like you would be if you just jumped into 3. Not saying that you would be lost, it's just easier to keep up with Andromeda. Now, if you keep up with gaming news, you've probably seen something about Mass Effect Andromeda and its facial animations, which are simply not good. People have made comparison videos to the first Mass Effect, and they pretty much look identical. Now, that being said, there was Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, and now we have Andromeda. The facial animations should be way better in Andromeda than they were in Mass Effect 1. That's just kind of common sense. Now, that being said, that is no reason to completely and totally boycott and pass up Mass Effect Andromeda. Should you buy it day one? Probably not, because I'm sure they will patch the game and add some better facial animations on down the road, along with some other, bells and whistles that come with patches. But that being said, it is no reason to completely and totally abandon the game and write it off as a loss because of the nature of Mass Effect. It's always been about the story and the storytelling itself rather than the characters' facial animations, because they've never been fantastic. I mean, if we're being real here. So if you are really looking forward to Mass Effect Andromeda and you do not want to shell out $60 for a game that simply doesn't look like it should, I am sure beyond a shadow of a doubt that there are going to be tons of playthroughs on Twitch and on YouTube, so you can definitely watch those if you don't mind kind of sacrificing your gameplay experience. But as for right now, I would not necessarily recommend this one this particular week, although it is going to be a good game whenever they do fix it and put a nice coat of polish on it, so to speak. Moving right along to Troll and I, coming to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Deep in the Nordic wilderness, a teenage boy named Otto is forced to flee his home after a band of brutal hunters rip through his village in search of a mythical creature rumored to inhabit the forest. Now on the run for his life, Otto inadvertently finds and befriends the elusive creature being sought by the hunters. Thus begins the perilous adventure of Troll and Otto. Together, the unlikely friends embark on a journey through treacherous territory plagued with rivals. Natives to the forest, Troll and Otto must use their inherent skills to sneak, strategize, and battle their way back home. The forest is filled with unknowns, and teamwork is pivotal to staying alive. Welcome to realistic Ori and the Blind Forest, or Ori and the Blind Forest with an enhanced texture pack, whatever you want to call it. That's pretty much the vibe that I'm getting from this. Because of the game itself, pretty much you play as Otto, and then you have a troll that you befriend, and it is a very simple story of two unlikely friends becoming friends, and then all of a sudden their skills complement each other and you can solve a whole bunch of puzzles. The troll on one hand is somewhat of a tank. He can take a lot of damage, he can deal a lot of damage. On the other hand, you have Otto, who can infiltrate slightly smaller spaces than the troll can accommodate, and you can get in, get out, and they just simply work together, and that's pretty much the basics of the game. That's about all you need to know. I'm being honest with you here, this game is likely passable, but you can definitely check out some gameplay. It might be something you are into if you're looking to solve some puzzles with two unlikely friends in the woods. That sounds very strange. Okay, so this next one's kind of long. This is The Police, which is coming to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and it's been on the PC for quite a while and has some fantastic reviews. But This is The Police is a strategy adventure game set in a city spiraling the drain. You'll come face to face with the ugly underbelly of Freeburg, taking the role of gritty police chief Jack Boyd, portrayed by John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem, a very famous voice actor. Choose your approach to each situation as it unfolds. Sometimes you'll be responding to a developing crisis at a crime scene or negotiating with Freebird's crime bosses. Sometimes you'll find yourself dodging questions in the press room or even the occasional cross-examination in the witness box. Can you keep this pressure cooker from exploding, or at least for long enough to stash away a nice retirement nest egg, or will you land yourself behind bars or worse? Your mission is clear: make $500,000 in 180 days before Jack Boyd goes to retirement. But how? It's up to you. Okay, so with this one, I'm not entirely sure it is going to carry over to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, well, because of the nature of the game. Okay, so on PC, it's very much so a point-and-click game, a lot like Adventure Capitalist, if you have ever heard of that one, and that one was not well received on the PlayStation 4, if I remember correctly. But pretty much, it's great for watching Twitch streams, if you watch YouTube videos, if you're procrastinating doing homework, or you have Reddit up on another monitor. It's a great way to kind of engage yourself without having to fully commit to playing a game like you would if you were playing, say, Battlefield 1 or Doom or something along those lines. It doesn't necessarily take all of your attention, but it's still a fun little form of a game. So to put that on a console where pretty much if you are playing a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One that is getting your full attention, it's not going to be that fulfilling experience that people kind of have come to expect from a console game. And also on the controller, it's not going to fit as well as it would with just a mouse and a keyboard, simply because of the nature of the controller. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers are made for high-octane gameplay, a lot like Battlefield 1. It's great for strategy stuff like Madden, but whenever it comes to pointing and clicking with a little, mouse, it's not that great to do that with an analog stick when you can simply go on your PC and do it with a mouse and a keyboard. I'm just not entirely convinced it's going to carry over the way that the developers hope. Now that being said, got fantastic reviews on Steam, so maybe it will be good on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. We'll just have to see whenever it does come to console later on this week. Moving right along to 88 Heroes, coming to the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and the PC. And I will say as a side note, this is the game that I am most excited about seeing this week. 88 Heroes is a chaotic 2D platformer where each level completed or untimely death brings a new hero into the action. With just 88 minutes to complete all 88 rooms, you'll need every one of the 88 heroes to stop Dr. Hate destroying the Earth. The 88th president of Earth calls for urgent crisis talks. 88 leaders from 88 countries around the world are summoned to the Octagon. You see the pattern here. With the planet bankrupt, which is pretty realistic, paying the ransom is not an option. Only one possible course of action is left to take. Infiltrate Dr. Hate's evil supra layers and retrieve the 8-digit coordinates to locate his space base and destroy it once and for all. Only a team of superheroes so daring, so heroic, and so stupid could possibly pull this off. But who? The 88 Heroes, 88 of the strangest and seemingly most pointless superheroes ever to grace the face of the Earth. They called the best, but the best were busy. This game really reminds me a lot of Rogue Legacy. Now, I will not say it is a rogue game. It is not. You have 88 levels, but on top of that, you do have death incorporated into the experience itself. So death is something you should actually expect whenever you're playing the game, and you definitely can't make it through with just using one life. It's not that kind of game. So of course, as you saw, you have the theme of 88, and there are 88 levels with 88 characters, meaning you are going to get a good variety of experiences with at least some entertaining characters here and there that are going to keep you chuckling through all 88 of the levels, and I have a good faith that it is actually going to be a fun experience. It's not going to be serious, it's not going to be a really hardcore 2D platformer, but it's going to be a good time. Now, in a world where 2D platformers are so overpopulated, you really have to set yourself apart with a creative idea, and I love the theme of 88. For some reason, it just stuck with me. I love the idea that you have kind of like this ragtag group of wannabe superheroes that are not actually super, trying to save the world from Dr. Hate, so that's a cool idea, and it definitely has that creativity to kind of survive and thrive in a 2D platformer saturated world. And to wrap things up, a couple of honorable mentions. Dreamfall Chapters is coming to the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One after a long stay as a PC exclusive. I think it came out in 2014, if I remember correctly, and then on top of that, you have Tokiden 2, I believe it's Tokiden, whatever it may be. Tokiden 2 is coming to the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation Vita, and the PC. So that about wraps it up for this episode of The Drop. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a like down below and let me know what game is coming out that you are looking forward to in the comments section. And also, if you happen to be new here, I do upload new stuff throughout the week, so there's always something new right here on the channel when you do drop by to watch some videos. But on top of that, one more little self-advertisement thing. You can head over to twitch.tv/blackcoffeetv and check out my Twitch channel and give that a follow if you do so choose. But as for right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I will talk to you soon. Peace.